This changes everything for the New York Knicks, as after a landmark move just went down in the NBA, changing the landscape of multiple teams, Leon Rose and the New York Knicks are ready to strike, as there has been a long-time player who they have held interest in, and now it just became a lot more realistic, and we are going to break all of it down. You saw Devin Booker on the thumbnail. We're not going to hide it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. Guys, I appreciate all the support, and if you guys are part of that 71% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, this is the place to be for all New York Knicks news every single day. We got daily videos. We're having a bunch of fun on this channel. We have an awesome live show every Friday, and we likely will be doing multiple live streams a week for that free agency, that trade season. So there's a lot to like about Knicks Digest right now. Also, we'll get back to our YouTube shorts very soon. But let's jump into it. As we all know, the NBA got shaken up today, and Leon Rose is now going to be ready to strike. Well, it's official. Kevin Durant, a man who has left multiple teams now, has once again been traded, as the Phoenix Suns have moved on from Durant, trading him to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green. As the news was revealed by Shams Charania, who said the Phoenix Suns are trading two-time NBA Finals MVP Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick in the 2025 NBA draft, and 5 second-round picks, according to sources who told that to ESPN. Now, Durant was great last season. There's no doubt about it. He put up 26.6 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, got a block, and also nearly a steal per game, shooting 53% from the field, 43% from 3, and 50% on corner threes. Now, a few things get implicated here for the Knicks. First things first, Kevin Durant, the long-time great NBA scorer who has been linked to the Knicks every 4 years since 2016. It's official. Kevin Durant is likely, or almost certainly, never going to wear a New York Knicks uniform. Now, we did not expect the Knicks to be trading for Kevin Durant after it pretty much came out that the Knicks didn't show too much interest in Durant at all. It's why they weren't listed as one of the teams he was interested in. He knew it wasn't happening. He knew the Knicks had no interest because the Knicks did not want to trade Karl-Anthony Towns or a litany of players to the Suns in exchange for the aging All-Star. So the Suns, a team that just had to do something different and knew Durant was out, they moved him to Houston, a team that could desperately use a scorer and another forward. This is a great move for them, and obviously they get back Jalen Green, a young athletic talent who still does have a ton of potential in this league. Now, obviously none of that really is to do with the Knicks, but here's where things get a little bit interesting. Here's where Leon Rose really gets things going. As we know, the Suns, this thing did not work out for them. Now, look, if we're being honest, not a bad haul for a guy who's going to be 37 next season at all. You got 5 second-round picks. That's going to help because you need any sort of draft capital. You do get the 10th overall pick in the NBA draft, so hopefully you hit on that. And you also get Jalen Green. Now, you have a few options here. You can just go forwards with this, or you could use Jalen Green in that 10th overall pick. You also get Dillon Brooks, who is a solid player nonetheless. But you get Jalen Green and you get that 10th overall pick. You could flip those for a current star because, to me, I don't see the Suns really having a ton of success in a rebuild considering they don't own their draft picks. It's kind of the problem the Milwaukee Bucks have with their team right now, except the Suns don't have Giannis. What do they have, though? Devin Booker, a man who the New York Knicks have been long interested in. And now, seeing the return be more young guys and Dillon Brooks, which, again, solid player, but also salary cap filler. If there was a time that Devin Booker is going to want out of the Phoenix Suns, it is going to be now. The Suns today got worse because they lost Kevin Durant in exchange for Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, and a rookie to be named later. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, this could play out better for the Suns in the long run, but today, what it looks for, and I don't even think it's a terrible haul for the Suns, but they are not as good at basketball because they do not have a top 10 to 12 player in the NBA on their team anymore in Kevin Durant. And I still have Booker, who's great and arguably right in there as well. I would put him in there. But Devin Booker has been very patient with the Suns team that outside of that NBA Finals run has not had the most success. Their last time in the playoffs, they did lose in the second round to the Denver Nuggets in a series where Booker was phenomenal. The playoffs, Booker was phenomenal. He put up 33.7 points, 7.2 assists, and 5 rebounds in 11 games in the 2023 NBA playoffs, playing 41.7 minutes a night. He shot 51% from 3 and 58% from the field. The man was unstoppable. He was unguardable. And we look at a potential trade package, which we'll get back to in a second, but we have to note something first from that little glimpse of the trade package you just saw. There's a world where Booker wants to go to the Knicks, according to Stephen A. Smith as of last year, saying Booker might deny it. I haven't spoken to him. I'm just telling you the scuttlebutt in the NBA circles is that brother wants to be in New York. And we look at everything, it would make sense. Now, Booker, he gets a teammate in Jalen Green to put up 21 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, and 3.4 assists, getting 1 steal per game, but is not a great defender. Didn't shoot too efficiently from the field, shooting 42% from the field and 35% from 3. Meanwhile, we look at everything that goes down, and we will get back to those in a second, but Booker's a guy who puts up 25.6 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. He gets a steal per game. His defense has climbed leaps and bounds, and he didn't have an efficient shooting season this year at all, but we know how great of a shooter Devin Booker is, and we know he'll bounce back to it. But the Knicks, they have been linked to Devin Booker time and time again, not just from Stephen A. Smith. Bleacher Report just highlighted the Knicks as a team to watch for Devin Booker, and they mentioned a third team would be a necessity in any Booker deal involving the New York Knicks, and Phoenix would have to desperately want a Mikal Bridges reunion for this to get off the ground. But if you focus on the quality of the landing spot from Booker and his acquiring team perspective, New York is nearly as good as it gets. A major market, entrenched point guard in Jalen Brunson who could facilitate for Booker like Chris Paul once did in Phoenix, an offense that could use another from-scratch playmaker, and it's all there for Booker with the New York Knicks. And on top of that, as Bleacher Report mentions, if New York were looking to bring in Booker, it could also look to ship Karl-Anthony Towns elsewhere. The big man's offensive contributions wouldn't be nearly as critical to the team's success with another All-NBA guard to keep the points flowing, and it was clear all season that Cat couldn't anchor a quality defense. Brunson's clutch heroics have defined New York throughout the postseason, but Booker could make it so the Knicks don't need to wait until the 11th hour to put games away. Now, that's a scenario, or what you could do, which makes a lot more sense, is you pair Devin Booker with his good friend Karl-Anthony Towns. The two went to college together. We know the Knicks love putting college teammates together. They did it with R.J. Barrett and Cameron Reddish. They tried to get Zion Williamson. They failed. They brought in Jalen Brunson, then later traded for Josh Hart, signed Dante DiVincenzo, who obviously they evidently would end up trading a year later, but then also brought in Mikal Bridges in a massive trade. Now, the Knicks don't have the most assets in the world, so it's the same thing that I've said with Giannis. It's the same thing that we're saying with star players. If the Knicks, if they want to pull this off, they're going to have to find a way to ensure that Devin Booker would only sign a contract extension with them. And that is when we look at a scenario like this trade, where the Knicks would be acquiring Devin Booker and Nick Richards. And in exchange, I know it says it doesn't work, but Fansmo had not updated things yet. Kevin Durant was still on the roster. It was a whole thing. But the Knicks would be acquiring Devin Booker and Nick Richards. And this is only if it's a 2-team swap. If it's a 3-team trade, which is likely, the Knicks could also work something out. But we're just looking at the money that they could give out here. They would be trading away Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart along with Mitchell Robinson. 3 guys who are quality players for the Knicks. And also, once again, it thins out a Knicks team. Nick Richards is a solid player. I'm a big fan of Nick Richards. I've said this on the channel. However, when we look at things, you start to wonder if it's worth it. Fansmo thinks that the Knicks would lose 5 extra games without Bridges, without Hart, without Mitchell Robinson. And that does make some sense. Don't get me wrong. You lose 3 great defenders. You lose Mitchell Robinson's impact. You lose Josh Hart's do-it-all. You lose Mikal Bridges' defensive and offensive impact. So it's a trade that would be a massive risk. And you also, once again, thin out a bench unit that's pretty thin. So your other option that you're looking at is you could try to move Karl-Anthony Towns, or you could facilitate some other sort of move that involves other teams here and there. But the Knicks would still have to give out a lot of money, and almost all the money they have signed is with players who are important under contract. But here's the one thing that we have to remember when considering all these. Well, this guy's important. The Knicks wouldn't trade him. Devin Booker's a superstar. He is. We all thought Dante DiVincenzo would never be traded, no matter who it was for. It's like, no, the Knicks find him to be way too important to the team. Why would they trade him? Well, they would trade him to get an NBA superstar in Karl-Anthony Towns. They also traded Julius Randle in the process. They're not afraid to trade people. Let's not pretend like they are, because they're not. And Leon Rose will trade anyone whose name isn't Jalen Brunson if we're being completely serious. No one else is 100% safe on this roster. Bridges and Hart have been floated around in trade rumors recently. Now, I don't think Josh Hart specifically is going to get traded. In fact, I don't think Mikal Bridges is going to get traded unless something falls across their lap that's just perfect, like a Jaren Jackson, like a situation where you could find yourself with Devin Booker. That's when this stuff becomes a lot more real and powerful. And I mean, we see that, we're seeing the NBA player I feel most bad for is Devin Booker. This was obviously a week ago, but still, it still stands. He's arguably better than Shea. That's not true. But basketball is a team sport, and Phoenix is just too busy playing NBA 2K effectively. Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and Bradley Beal is not a good trio at all. This is the time that Devin Booker would ask out. And with him already being, or with the Knicks already being hailed as a landing spot for Booker, it makes sense for the Knicks to check in on him. In fact, I believe the Knicks probably will check in on him if they have not already, because what we know about the Knicks front office is that Leon Rose is constantly calling other front offices to talk about the values of, we saw him do it with coaches. We saw him say, can we interview your head coach? Because the question is, what's the value? What would we have to trade you? What draft compensation would we have to trade you for us to take your head coach? The situation, what they do with players all the time. They call teams religiously and say, what's the value on this player? What would we have to trade to land them? Just so they understand how teams value their current players right now, because it's important for their analytics. They have the biggest analytics department in basketball for a reason. They want to make sure that all their moves are carefully calculated and are going to lead to more wins. And thus far, that's been true as they got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Now it's about getting to and winning the NBA Finals, something that we know the Knicks would be happy to add Devin Booker to, because that does make it easier. But guys, what do you think about this happening? The Knicks being linked as an option to Devin Booker is always going to happen, especially because the Karl-Anthony Towns ties, and also Leon Rose has had interest in Booker forever since he took the Knicks job. We're going to see what goes down here. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, guys, and go Knicks.